Update. My mom wants nothing to do with me because I picked my dad in the divorce. Original post. I know it sounds bad. I have a lot of regrets, but everything was really hard after my parents, now both 49 years old, got divorced when I was 13. I had a happy childhood before then and was closest with my mom. The divorce was harder on me than my older sister Penny, 21 female, who kind of took it in stride. My mom moved out into an apartment and was generally incredibly depressed. She drank a lot, and it was just a mess. We had 50-50 custody, but the schedule they came up with was annoying because I had to switch houses every 2 to 3 days. I went to a private school, so I had uniforms, and I was always getting in trouble for leaving them at the other house or not having things. Then my mom moved 45 minutes away from my school. They gave my sister a car so she could drive me to school, but I played sports and she didn't want to hang around after school waiting for me. I was always waiting around and would sometimes just end up at my dad's anyway. So I asked if I could stay with dad on weekdays and mom on weekends. My dad didn't want to only have me for school days, so I was with him one weekend and her the other 3. I thought it was awesome, but I could tell my mom seemed less, fond of me. My sister was supposed to drive me, but again, with sports, some weekends I'd call my mom to pick me up and she wouldn't be able to, so I was spending less time over there. I know she and Penny got much closer. Penny only came over to my dad's every other weekend by then too. We got into a massive fight when I was a sophomore because I had a big game, semifinals for state, and I was on varsity. And she didn't go because she was taking Penny prom dress shopping. I was dating a junior and going too, so I asked if we could all go another day, and she told me to ask my dad to take me. She had gotten me into sports and always went to my games, and I played horribly because I was so anxious about whether or not she'd come. She didn't. I felt like she'd forgotten about me and moved on, so I stopped going over to her house. We'd call and see each other on holidays and stuff, but I was hurt, and she never apologized. I still obviously love her, and we get along well when we see each other. It's just not often. Lately, I've been feeling really down. I lost a friend, and my dad's new girlfriend moved in, and I'm pretty sure she wants me to move out, which is whatever. I'll figure it out, but it's more like she gets mad if I don't clean, but when I do, she gets snippy and is like, "You're not your dad's wife." Now my mom is doing well. She got remarried about a year ago, and he has 2 kids who are like 10 and 12. Jake and Emma. They're all nice, but I obviously don't know them well. Anyway, before Christmas, my mom asked me if I would give one of my old American Girl dolls to Emma. It's not like an heirloom or anything, but it was my cousin's, and honestly, I don't know Emma very well. So I said no. It's not like they don't have money, and they still sell the dolls. I wasn't mean or anything, I just said I didn't want to. But I kept asking her about Christmas and when to be where, and she never really told me. I normally spend Christmas Eve with her, and she never told me what was going on. I texted her that day and asked when I could give her her gift, and she said she'd reach back out after the holidays. That hurt in a way I can't explain, because she'd never ignored my calls or refused to see me before. I guessed it was probably about the stupid doll and that I probably should have given her space, but I still texted her, "Happy New Year." Penny got super mad and drove out and yelled at me. She said I had to stop bothering mom when I broke her heart by picking dad. I told her that wasn't true, and she told me they got divorced because dad had an affair, and that I was an idiot if I hadn't figured that out. Nobody had ever told me that, and dad hadn't dated anyone I knew about until recently. I got upset, told her to leave, and didn't even give her my mom's present because I was so upset. I haven't told my dad yet, but I've been really upset about it. I feel like I never meant to hurt her, but I still feel really bad. I don't know if I should reach out to her, or if I should just leave well enough alone like Penny told me to. I'm pretty sure she's moved on from me. She's posted pictures of her and her husband's kids with Penny, and I don't think she has space in her life for me anymore. And it's all my fault. Now for the top comments before reading the update. Your mom is the one responsible for communicating things. If she's feeling resentful, it should be a conversation. But the fact that she basically just stopped showing up suggests you couldn't win in this scenario anyway. She was the one with the burden to stay involved. You were a kid who needed your mom's presence and didn't get it. I mean, I know I wasn't perfect. One Mother's Day, I had just gotten over COVID and was still super tired, and I told her I didn't think I was up for a 1.5-hour round trip. She basically stopped calling after that, and I wish I had just sucked it up and gone. Kid, and I say that because you're younger than my kids. You were a baby. You were a child and your parents were divorcing. You were going through one of the most emotionally damaging events possible, and you didn't get support. Your mom dropped the ball here and it wasn't your fault. You were a baby. 13 is a baby. 16 is a baby. Heck, I'll call 19 a baby. Your parents wanted you, the non-driving baby, to deal with their house choices? Who the heck does that to a baby? I mean, I know I'm an adult now. My mom used to get fake mad when I'd say I was whatever age and say that I'd always be her baby, but I know that's not true, haha. And my therapist says I need to start seeing things from other people's point of view now that I'm older. You are the child. She is the adult. She made choices that gave you fewer choices, and the choices she left you were ones she was unhappy with. She is treating your relationship a bit like her drinking problem. She is not responsible. Nothing is her fault. She'll do what feels good in the moment, even if it's destructive, and she'll never communicate or work through her feelings like an adult. By the way, are you able to set up a dad-daughter activity during which you can talk about all this? You haven't gotten good modeling for communication, but it's something to work on learning. I haven't talked to my dad about all of this yet. If what Penny said is true, then I don't know what to do. My dad has always been there for me since the divorce, and if it's true, I don't know how to get past it. Now for the update 2 weeks later. I talked to my parents. It wasn't fun. I confronted my dad about what my sister told me, and he admitted it was true. It was hard for me to hear, because I had a boyfriend cheat on me a few months back, and my dad had been there for me. I also told him about what his girlfriend had been saying. He was upset about it and said he'd take care of it and talk to her. It seems like she's been nicer, but I don't really trust her. My dad and I are okay though. I'm still upset about what he did, but I guess he can still be a good dad and not a good husband. It's kind of complicated. Like maybe his girlfriend deserves to be with him. That's mean. Unfortunately, stuff with my mom has been bad. We used to always go to the ballet at Christmas. It was our thing together. But a few years ago after the divorce, she said she didn't want to go that year and just never asked me again. I asked a few times, but she always said she couldn't do it. But last week she made a post with her, Penny, and Emma, her stepdaughter that she wanted me to give the doll to. And obviously, they were at the ballet. When I saw Penny the next day, I feel like she wanted me to ask about it, but I didn't. She asked me if I wanted to go in on Mom's birthday present. It's in a few weeks. I asked if I was going to be invited to her party or dinner, and she said that shouldn't matter. So I told her, I'm not getting Mom anything for stuff I'm not invited to. I got her a Christmas present, and she didn't invite me over. And I got her a wedding present, and I wasn't invited. Penny told me they didn't want to invite me to the wedding because Mom didn't want me reporting anything back to my dad so she could enjoy the wedding. She eloped in the Caribbean. That made me really upset, so I called my mom later and asked if it was true. She was annoyed, I could tell, and told me she'd meet me to talk, but I had to promise I'd listen. So I drove all the way out to talk to her, and she went on about boundaries and how, if I wanted her in my life, I had to respect them. Her boundaries were like needing to give her 3 days notice before seeing her, and not asking the day of or the day before, and I'd have to invite Emma to anything we did and put effort into being a big sister to her. I was so over it. I asked her again if the wedding thing was true, and she said she just wanted to enjoy her wedding after everything. I have never gossiped with either of my parents about the other. Even when I knew they wanted me to, I never did. And even if I had, my own mom cared more about her ex finding out about her wedding than having me there. I kind of lost it at that point. I know it was wrong, but I couldn't help it. I've just been keeping things inside for so long and trying to get her to love me again, and it's pointless. She doesn't want me around, and I don't want to be around anyone who doesn't want me there. So I told her that. I told her I had no idea Dad had an affair until Penny told me, but at this point, I didn't blame him. She could have fun with my replacement, but it won't ever be the same because she's not her mom. She had a mom, and it's not her, and she'll always pick her mom over her. My friends' moms go out of their way to see their daughters, and I have to beg mine for scraps. I wish I had told her where to shove her boundaries, but I didn't have the juice for that, haha. But I did tell her to forget she ever had me and left. She called me a bunch, but I googled it, and since I'm 19, I'm allowed to block her number. So Penny and her husband have been calling and texting me, and I told them she needs to respect my boundaries. I think I'll be okay, but it's been hard. I have a therapist who helps me sometimes, but I think cutting my mom out will be good long term. I don't want to end up like her, and if Penny wants to cut me off for that, that's fine. My friends and I decided to get an apartment starting this summer. I think it'll be good for everyone. My dad was sad when I told him, but I need to start my life. I know it's kind of BS because he'll be paying my rent, but we promised we'd get dinner at least twice a week. I know he did something bad, but I kind of meant what I said about not blaming him. At least he's always been there for me, unlike her. Your dad staying with a woman who treated you poorly means he doesn't care how she treats you. He does care. He's told me if she says anything else to tell him right away. She told me she just is new to the whole step-parent thing and apologized. I'm just not a fan, but I am moving out soon and it might just be space issues. How did your sister find out about the affair? My mom. Lol, yet your sister ridiculed you for not knowing? God, she sucks. I think your mom misdirected a lot of anger and resentment onto you that she never should have. To me, it sounds like she desperately needed therapy. She kind of made her own bed when she shut you out of Christmas and her wedding. It also seems that a lot of the things she did, prom dress shopping, not going to your semi-final, moving 45 minutes away, in the early years after the divorce, were spiteful actions aimed at you when she was mad at your dad. How were you supposed to know he cheated? I think if your dad's girlfriend is now at least respectful and not weirdly snippy with you, that's pretty good. Let him know if that changes, though. I do think he really loves and cares about you. I hope you enjoy and learn a lot as you step into independent life and share an apartment with your friends. It will be exciting to figure out where you want to go from here. Honestly, at this point, I'm glad I didn't know he cheated. It definitely would have affected how I treated him. But at this point, I don't care. And like I said, I don't blame him for it. I would hate being married to my mom. Last story. I regret not listening to my parents about my husband. I, 55 female, come from a very wealthy family. Both of my parents were doctors. Both of my brothers are lawyers, and one of them owns the biggest law firm in our entire country and has been the president of the Lawyers Committee 3 different times. My oldest sister is an oncologist. I was the youngest in the family. I married very young at 20 because I was in love. At the time, I was in medical school, but I dropped out to become a stay-at-home wife to my husband, who was a car mechanic with his own workshop. He was 5 years older than me, and I was head over heels in love with him. My parents and siblings hated him. They said I had more potential than being someone's stay-at-home wife, and they didn't think he was worthy of being part of our family. I refused to listen and fought with them constantly over it. They ended up disowning me when we got married. I thought I was happier without them, and for years I was. We all lived in a small town. Even though my family was rich, they loved the quietness. For many years, we didn't speak, even though they lived just a few minutes down the street from me. We had 4 kids together, 3 daughters and our youngest son, and we were happy. He was always good to me, and even though we weren't rich, we had enough. About 13 years ago, however, he was in a very bad work accident and became partially disabled and unable to work anymore. Soon after, the shop closed down because we couldn't keep it running. I had never worked a day in my life and never continued my education, so I was stuck. My oldest brother came and offered me a job at his law firm as a secretary, even though we hadn't spoken in decades. I accepted. The pay wasn't very much, and he treated me no differently than any other employee. He wasn't interested in rekindling a relationship with me or getting to know my family, but I was still grateful for his help. Around that time, both of my parents passed away just a few months apart, and I was completely left out of their will. It's been years now, and I'm still working for my brother. My daughters all put themselves through college, and they are all doctors in residency now, and I'm proud of them. My son went to trade school and is a mechanic like his dad. My family still doesn't talk to me. Honestly, I regret it so much. These past few years have been hell. My husband passed away 4 years ago, and I've gone without many times trying to help my kids have a better life than I did. I love my kids, and I truly loved my husband, who loved me until the end. But at the same time, I regret dropping out of school. I hate that I didn't listen to my parents and my family, and I miss how things used to be. I stalk my siblings on Facebook, and they're all living happy lives with their children and grandchildren. Meanwhile, I'm worrying about bills and whether I'll be able to eat for the rest of the month. Last month, my oldest brother, the one I work for, bought a brand new Lexus SUV like it was nothing, with the seat covers still on, while I'm driving a 16-year-old Renault. I regret all of it so much. Sounds like it was your decision not to continue your education, not that you regret marrying your husband. Many people are rich and don't have love in their lives. You are another kind of rich. You could still go back to school and get educated. You also could have stayed with your husband and gotten an education or worked. It sounds like you regret cutting your family off, not necessarily marrying your husband. Yes, that's exactly it. I couldn't have asked for a better husband. Even though it wasn't his fault, he still apologized every single time we struggled to pay the bills or have food, even though just walking was so painful for him in the end. Regret is a downward spiral that leads to depression. My health is gone, life is hard, but you have to learn to accept the things you cannot change. At 55, my mother earned an administrative management degree and went from being the personal assistant to the dean of the faculty at her university to running the non-academic side of the operation, that is, taking over 70% of her former boss's job. You have plenty of options. You're not done yet. Look forward, not back. When I was in college, there were people of varying ages getting their degrees. My first group project had a 62-year-old guy in the group, and nobody batted an eye. I think there are also some benefits to going to college as an adult. For example, it's easier to build relationships with professors.